Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. I'm Dani, and today, Create.com talks with Andrew Cruz, president of Because International. If you haven't heard of it, their mission is to alleviate poverty by distributing impact products and supporting product focused entrepreneurs. Remember, if you're new here to this podcast, press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app. Hi, Andrew, and welcome.
Hello, Danny. Thank you so much for having me.
It's really our pleasure. I'm really eager to know more about you guys. So let's start by please tell us about the vision of Because International and what inspired this creation.
Yes, I'd love to. And what inspired? I mean, really, that comes down to our story, which is kind of long, but I'll try to give the Cliff Notes version of that. But really, as far as a vision, we envision a world without poverty. And our focus is, it's material poverty, it's absolute poverty, it's those around the world. We're an international nonprofit, so those around the world suffering from the effects of extreme poverty, those that don't have an opportunity to meet those most basic needs, kids and families, and that shows up specifically in a few different programs and the work that we do. But really, it all started with my lifelong best friend. We went to school together when we were just little kids, went through primary school, university, graduated from university. His name is Kenton, and he took the opportunity to travel around the world, lived in a couple of countries. And one of those countries was Kenya. He lived and worked at an orphanage in Kenya. And these kids had a variety of different needs, but for whatever reason, their shoes caught his attention. He tells a story one day walking down the road to go to church. A little girl in a white dress. He looked down, and she had shoes, but they were so small. She'd actually cut the toes out, or the front off the shoes, so her toes could stick out, so she could continue to wear them. And he just thought, what if someone designed solutions for this little girl, for people like this, regardless of their ability to pay? These people, these kids, these families need innovation the most. And specifically, what if we designed footwear that could last? Footwear that was made to last, but also these are kids, their feet are growing, footwear that could adjust and expand. So this idea he couldn't get out of his head for a shoe that could grow. And pretty early on, he thought, what if I could create the shoe that grows? Kind of an interesting story, neat idea. But this was back in 2008, and he came back from living abroad, from traveling. He told me about this idea, and for 5, 6, 7 years, it was kind of just an idea. Trying to contact shoe companies. Would anybody help us out? Could we get a hold of a shoe designer that could make this idea a reality? And it was slow going. But eventually, we found a shoe designer who took a chance on us. After a lot of shoe companies didn't really want anything to do with it. And then eventually in 2015, we were able to do a production run of the shoes. And at that point, our story kind of went viral overnight. It was in April of 2015. So we got a bunch of attention. A bunch of people wanted to help us get our shoes distributed to kids all around the world. We got the funding to produce some additional rounds. And that was really when the organization as a whole took off, because International is what we call it. And then from there, it's just been a journey of getting as many shoes as we can to as many kids as possible all around the world, over 400,000 pairs in over 100 countries. And then also thinking about where do we go from here? Are we just a footwear nonprofit? Really, we're committed to poverty alleviation. What else could that look like? So anyways, I'm going to take a breath there because it's a bit of a story, and we've evolved even more since then. But that's the gist of it.
Oh, that's actually an incredible story, and it is a true testament, I guess, to hard work and attention. You know, when you really care, you can pay attention to the detail and find something meaningful that you can do with something that most people would overlook. Honestly, I think that's the message. That's the greatest message behind it. And since you mentioned the shoe that grows, right? I think Because International is known for innovative and practical solutions, right? And this shoe is really the flagship product that you have. And how does it work? How does invention work, and what kind of impact has it had in communities around the world?
Yeah, well, I maybe should have had some pairs available that I can play around with, but you can go on our website and take a look. The shoe is a little bit more open-toed and designed, and it has a variety of straps that adjust the size, the width, as well as the front and back of the shoe, so that it can grow up to 5 sizes. And really, in many ways, the secret of it is the sole that can wrap up around the foot so that as the shoe adjusts, it can lay a little bit flatter, the sole can, which increases the footprint. But that is, again, I guess the main idea around how the shoe adjusts and expands. And then, I mean, we have five different sizes of the shoe. So everything from a toddler all the way up to a teenager or even adult can wear our shoes. They're also made now exclusively in Mombasa, Kenya. So a lot of our shoes stay in East Africa after they're produced. They make their way across the African continent as well, and then a variety of other countries. Really, again, trying to get them to kids and families impacted by poverty, regardless of where they're located.
That's really great. And for everyone that is curious about this shoe, you can get this information and get to see it on their website. As Andrew mentioned, you can find the link in the description of this episode, right? Now, in addition to this shoe that grows, what other products and initiatives has Because International launched? Again, on your website, you have this accelerator
Right.
project. I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting combination to be getting shoes to kids, but then also running a business accelerator. And again, it's kind of our story, and in some ways where I left off. So after we really took off and we're getting a lot of shoes to a lot of kids, starting in 2015, then 2016, 17, we started to take a step back and wonder what is the next step for the organization, or again, are we going to be a footwear nonprofit, or what might we be more? And we thought about, what about additional innovative products? And that put us on a path toward starting what was known then as BedNet Buddy. This was a collapsible kind of freestanding bed net that kids and families, especially those that might be kind of on the move, refugee sort of situations, can sleep in order to protect from the effects of malaria. So we went through the process of, again, product development, design. After a few years, though, we realized this doesn't quite meet the needs in the way we had hoped, and it also is not going to be cost effective given the alternatives. It was a failure in certain ways, but it also was a really valuable lesson, because we realized, I think, some of the assumptions we had made. We also, along the way, started getting contacted by and meeting local entrepreneurs that had their own ideas for innovative products. And they were creating businesses, creating jobs, which is incredibly important in terms of breaking that cycle of poverty, to be able to have a job. So that's when a bit of a light bulb went off in our head, and we said we shouldn't be doing this. No more products on our own by ourselves. We've got all of these again, people who understand these needs. They understand the solution so much better than us, but they don't have all the same advantages we have here in the U.S. To develop a product and to start a business. So what if we used our platform, our expertise, to help them further, again, build out their ideas, build their businesses, create jobs, stimulate local economies, all of these things that are important to ultimately lifting communities out of poverty through important solutions and through job creation. So that was kind of the informal launch of the accelerator. We started helping some of these entrepreneurs kind of on an ad hoc, one-on-one basis. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. And then that has really grown and expanded to a formal program that we now run. Over 100 entrepreneurs we've supported, each of them with just a unique product solution, some innovative products that are solving important problems, but just as importantly, creating jobs for those that need them the most.
This is a paramount evolution, I believe, for an organization that's trying to provide this kind of service, because it's not just about providing the product, but also creating the means to, enhance the situations and, as I said, break the cycle of poverty. So it's really, really incredible and meaningful. And as you spoke, I kept thinking about the innovation role of this, but also about, in a way, the sustainability, not one way, environmental sustainability, because you know creating new products, and I wonder if this is something that you have in mind, but also, and now it comes to me, the sustainability of these ideas on itself, because it's something, right? You create a product, and as you experienced in creating the organization, it's not just about the idea, it's about making it possible to produce and then to distribute and make this whole cycle sustainable. So how those two things actually work for you guys?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question because sustainability is I mean, it's a pretty hot topic for good reason. And I think it can mean different things. You touched on a few of those. I think that, first of all, the sustainability of our program, financial sustainability. I mean, so first of all, so many of our shoes get distributed by people who are already serving these kids who already have budget for footwear. A lot of them are funding the production of the footwear so that they can then help distribute these to kids. And that is a so much more sustainable model than us just going out and fundraising or getting grants and then producing shoes and then going and finding the kids and distributing on our own. So that I think is a model of kind of operational and financial sustainability that has allowed us to get so many shoes to so many kids. But on the environmental sustainability side, I think it's an added benefit. I mean, ultimately, our mission, our focus is poverty alleviation. So getting a high quality shoe to kids, shoes that are durable, but also adjust and expand so kids aren't outgrowing them. It means fewer shoes in landfills. It's definitely an added benefit. And then on the accelerator side, I would say, I mean, so many of the entrepreneurs we work with, I mean, these are purpose-driven people. So they are passionate about their products, their solutions. They're passionate about the jobs they're creating, but also they tend to be passionate about a number of other things. And we've been privileged to work with a number of entrepreneurs where environmental sustainability, among other things, is a key aspect of what we're doing. So we get to focus on poverty alleviation, but we also get to touch a number of other important areas.
That's great. That's honestly great to hear and to know. And considering all of this, I keep wondering, what are some of the challenges that your organization faces, and how do you overcome them to continuing making a positive impact?
Yeah, challenges. And I might talk a little bit about the shoe side, but then also the accelerator side. I think in general, we are, like many organizations, all doing our part in this global effort toward poverty alleviation. And the data shows that we're making progress, absolutely. And there have been some setbacks for sure over the past few years, especially with COVID and some of the other, I guess, global challenges that have come up in this space. But regardless, poverty is being reduced at a fascinating rate, and it's exciting to be part of that. And again, yet challenges remain. I would say on the footwear side of things, we've distributed again over 400,000 pairs, mostly like 50 pairs, 100 pairs, 500 pairs at a time. Smaller groups that are traveling or groups that sponsor a school or an orphanage. We have now developed our footwear. We've gotten it to a point in terms of just quality along with price point where we're ready to distribute many more pairs, by the hopefully tens of thousands, if not more. Larger organizations that are focusing on disaster relief or other, I guess, larger situations or world regions where shoelessness and the problems associated, the suffering that occurs because of it, the soil transmitted diseases, parasites, all of those things, where we can start fighting this on a much larger scale. But a challenge right now, I think, is at some level getting the word out to a lot of these organizations, more partnerships, more effort to get people on board so we can get more and more shoes produced and more distributed. And then on the accelerator side, it's actually tough. I mean, we have had kind of a breakout year in many ways with our program. So in many ways, it doesn't feel like there are a lot of bottlenecks and challenges, but I might reframe them just in terms of opportunities. We have more and more entrepreneurs that are in need of our support. We have a relatively small team here, but we do have a team, kind of an extended team of 90 advisors. These are business and really like startup professionals that come alongside these entrepreneurs. They provide coaching, mentoring, they help train. We couldn't do the work without them, quite frankly. So we need to build this network. So for those out there that would love to get involved, interact with some of these entrepreneurs, serve as a coach and mentor, our program is almost entirely virtual. So it gives us a unique opportunity to link up like-minded people that are doing great work and can do more together than they can separately. So I'd say building that network as quickly as we would like to, even though we are seeing some great progress there.
I love that you mentioned this part of it, because it might get overlooked, honestly. I would first draw my attention to the problem in itself, instead of thinking of the network of collaboration that is required to get there, to change things. So I do hope that this podcast also is a channel, a way for people to get the word about you guys and get in touch and join efforts, hopefully. And on that topic, one very important thing I want to ask, that is, as I said, for everybody listening and watching us on YouTube who are inspired by your work, how can they get involved and support Because International's mission?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that question. Everyone says it, but it is so true. I mean, we can't do the work that we do without our supporters, without our donors and our volunteers. We are a US-based 501c3 nonprofit, so we accept donations along with all of those that work to fund the production of our shoes and help us distribute shoes. On the donation side, I mean, the best way to do that in terms of just impact, we have a program called The Soul. This is our monthly giving program, where we are keeping this group updated on these world regions that we're focused on in terms of getting shoes to kids that need them most, that are suffering, like I said, the effects of shoelessness. So with that monthly gift, you're helping to get more and more shoes distributed, and we're keeping you in the loop on those distributions that are occurring. For those that might be part of an organization that travels and that serves kids internationally, contact us. Let's partner up. Let's get more shoes produced and shoes to the kids that you exist to serve. And then on the accelerator side, like I said, we have a group of right now 90 plus committed business professionals that do what I think is incredibly rewarding work, talking to our entrepreneurs, providing encouragement, support, mentorship. And that is a fantastic way for those that have some business expertise, or just some coaching and mentoring expertise in general, to get involved in the work that we're doing, to see the impact. We've traveled with a number of them so that they can see that impact firsthand. So everything from following us, encouraging, supporting us, donating, to a few key ways that you can get involved in the work that we do as well.
Yeah, if you felt touched, connected, or inspired by the work that they do, I raise my voice here with Andrew and urge you to go to their website, their social media. Their website is becauseinternational.org. Again, find the link on the description of this episode, and learn more. We try to cover some important topics here, highlights that we found more interesting right now. But there's much more information that you can get from them. And as Andrew said, help. This help can come in many ways. It's sometimes as close as the reach of your thumb on your phone. So Just go there. Thank you so much, Andrew, for joining. I loved talking to you today.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. Really appreciate it.
And for everybody listening also, thank you so much for staying with us for one more episode. And remember, if you enjoyed, press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app, because that shows the algorithms that this is an important conversation and more people can learn about the importance of Because International. Bye, and I see you in the next episode.